Hey, I'm Matt Stauffer. I'm the host of the 5-Minute Geek Show. This is episode 19. 5-Minute Geek Show is a twice-weekly show about development and everything around it. One topic per episode, front-end, back-end, mobile product management, design, entrepreneurship, whatever. If it's geeky, it fits. Today we're going to be talking about what if X person gets hit by a bus or goes off the rails or whatever. It's a common conversation you have when you start investing yourself in a particular framework or a language or whatever it is. There's a particular tool that you invest yourself in, you use it a lot, and often the conversation comes up if it's a single person who's creating it. For example, Laravel, Taylor Otwell. We do a lot of work in Laravel. We're not a Laravel shop, but we do a lot of work in Laravel. It's a really useful tool. We use it a lot. And people will ask, I just got asked on Twitter the other day, how do you feel comfortable investing yourself so deeply into Laravel when it's a one-man show, right? It's a one-man orchestra, I think is what they said. And the first question that normally gets asked is, what if Taylor Otwell gets hit by a bus? Well, there's contingency plans for that already. There's already a person who's going to get passed to. There's already, here's how, all the GitHub credentials, all that kind of stuff. It's going to be handled. It's going to be managed. But the next question is, well, what if he doesn't get hit by a bus? But what if he just goes totally off the rails? What if he just says, he starts making decisions that you don't line up with? What if the roadmap, goes somewhere where you don't like it? And this has actually happened recently, but noticeably, it wasn't a single person. It was the Angular team. And when Angular, which is a JavaScript framework, released the version 2 of what their framework was going to be, everyone freaked out. And they said, this is a terrible idea. Breaks all backwards compatibility. There's no upgrade map, which basically just says, we get to the point where it's time to go to 2.0 and we got to rewrite everything from scratch. It's this really horrible situation. Nobody really wants to do this. And it was they had a lot of problems. Honestly, I think that was the biggest hit against Angular's adoption because they had started to kind of win out over Ember, especially a lot in the PHP world. And I think that might have been a really big bump in their road to kind of becoming the winning framework, if there was such a thing. So Angular is not backed by one person. Angular is backed by Google. And I actually was just listening to, I think it was a Full Stack Radio podcast where he was interviewing, I think it was the guy who runs the Ruby on Rails podcast, who, by the way, has the most amazing voice ever. And I find myself wanting to just kind of deepen my voice so that I can talk a little bit more like that guy. So that guy, I think it's Sean Devine is his name. I'm jealous of your voice and I want you to know that. And I'm not making fun of it. I'm just trying to sound that awesome. So one of the things he was mentioning is that he really likes working with Ember. And what he's saying is Ember is run by a core team, individual people. And I know them and I trust them and I trust the direction they're going and it's open source and all this kind of stuff. Now, I think what I'm getting at here is that individual people accountable to the public have their flaws, right? Taylor has his flaws. Taylor can make bad decisions. Taylor, the Ember crew can make bad decisions. And that's a part of life. But Google can also make bad decisions. Facebook can make bad decisions. And what this guy was pointing out in the podcast interview, he said there was this, I think it was Batman JS that some large group, it was like Shopify or something like that, or a big cartel. It was a JavaScript framework that they were maintaining as a function of needing it. Well, they switched to no longer needing full-page JavaScript. Right? So they switched to normal server-side service. And what he said was they basically completely abandoned Batman JS. And you know what? Now that I think of it, it might have been Adam that said this. But anyway, check out the interview. It's a really fantastic interview. But they were saying, look, they just totally abandoned it because they didn't need it anymore. They weren't going to keep it going because it wasn't this community thing. There's nobody's passion behind it. It was because it served a particular business need. And so they're saying, yeah, we might look at a business supporting these things and saying the business backing is actually meaning it's going to go further. And I still kind of feel that way. I think HHVM being backed by Facebook means it has a lot more potential to go somewhere. But there is this limitation that you run into when it's backed by a business. It's the business's needs that serve its advancement. And when it no longer serves the business's needs, it's no longer going to happen. Now, of course, that can happen for a person too. Someone could just decide, I don't want to do this anymore. But when that happens, usually there's a community of contributors that are built up around them that weren't just relying on the business to do it. So if some of the Ember core team decides they don't want to do it anymore, the rest of the folks in the Ember core team probably pick it up. If Taylor Otwell decides he doesn't want to do Laravel anymore, somebody else within the Laravel contribution team, there's, again, specifically a named person, but somebody else will pick it up. So to me, somebody getting hit by a bus is a concern. Somebody totally going off the rails is a concern. But it's the combination of the fact that this is just one of many tools. Now, Laravel is a really fantastic tool, and I happen to think that Ember is actually kind of exciting, even though we've used Angular a lot in the past. Each of these things, they're exciting tools. but they're just tools in the end. We're a web development shop. I mean, we're not even web, we're just a development shop. We're not a Laravel shop. If Laravel fell off the face of the earth, I would be so sad. It's great. Laravel 5 just came out yesterday for you guys. And it's really exciting, and it's a fantastic tool, and I love the community. But we wouldn't stop being able to do our jobs if we didn't have Laravel. We'd just use other tools. It's my favorite tool to do a lot of the work we do, so use it. But you know what I mean? Like, so that's piece one. And piece two is just because it's a single person or just because it's a few people, it doesn't make it less reliable than it being backed by companies. Sometimes it's actually more reliable. So that's it. 5 Minute Geek Show. Thank you so much for tuning in. This was episode 19. We're 5 Minute Geek Show on Twitter, which is the number 5. 5 Minute Geek Show, FIVE. You can subscribe to us on iTunes, RSS, YouTube. And if you like the show, I don't always say this, it'd be really, really amazing if you went to iTunes and rated it positively. That really actually goes a long way for us. So thank you so much. And until next time, this is Matt Stauffer, 5 Minute Geek Show. 5 minute?
5 minute, I don't know.
Say 5 minute?
5 minutes.
Geek Show.
Oh, nice.
You gonna say Geek Show?
So is say.
Geek Show.
So is say.
Good job. Say 5 Minute Geek Show.